The stars were quiet, shining like cold diamonds across the endless black sky, and the human station drifted near a dying red star, its lights glowing weak but steady, as if guarding the silence of deep space. And inside the station, men and women worked with calm hands, unaware that history was about to change forever. Then, the silence broke, not with sound but with light, when unknown ships appeared from the darkness, their hulls shining like liquid glass, their size so massive that they made the human station look like a toy. And for the first time, the humans faced a visitor not from their world, not from their system, but from far beyond. The aliens did not arrive in peace. Their voices came through every channel, their words heavy with arrogance. "You humans are young, your machines are weak. Your place is below us," they said. And the humans stood still, hearing the words, but not answering with fear, because fear was not in their blood. One alien commander, tall, scaled, and cold, looked at the human ships with eyes full of contempt, and yet deep inside he remembered an old warning, a whisper among his kind: "Do not test them. The humans are different." But pride drowned the whisper, and the commander laughed, ready to break this small species and prove their empire's power once more. The alien fleet spread around the station like a web, their weapons glowing, their engines ready, their soldiers watching. And still the humans did not kneel. Instead, they prepared their ships, old vessels by alien standards, with armor scratched and engines humming like tired beasts. But there was something strange, something the aliens could not understand. The ships were curved, not sharp like blades, not straight like spears, but full of strange arcs and bends, as if the humans had built them wrong. The alien officers mocked them. "Look at these ugly shapes, these broken lines. Do they think such curves will save them?" They laughed, their pride growing louder. But the human captains only stared back, silent, patient, their hands steady on controls, their eyes calm like hunters waiting in the dark. The station commander, an old man with silver hair and a scar across his cheek, gave the only order that mattered: "Hold position, do not fire." "Let them test us first," he said. And his voice carried no fear, only iron, and the crew obeyed, knowing something the aliens did not know. For a moment, space grew heavy as if the universe itself was holding its breath, and the alien commander raised his hand, ready to begin the test, a simple strike to crush the humans and show them their place. But deep inside, that whisper returned again, warning him, "Do not test them." Still, he ignored it. The first blast came, a wave of blue fire that cut through the void, and the humans moved, their ships sliding aside with impossible grace, their curves bending the path of light, their engines turning in ways alien eyes could not predict, and the shot missed, burning only empty darkness. Shock filled the alien bridge, confusion spread like fire. Their weapons locked again, faster, stronger. But again the human ships turned, twisting along arcs that made no sense, their ugly curves breaking the alien targeting systems, and once again the blasts hit nothing, only the silence of space. The humans did not fire back. Not yet, they only moved, silent and calm, like dancers among stars, and their commander spoke once more, his voice cold but steady. "Go ahead, test them, if that is what you want." The alien crews stared at their screens, their pride cracking into doubt, their weapons failing again and again, and slowly, fear began to crawl into their hearts, because they realized these strange human curves were not mistakes. They were weapons of their own kind, hidden in plain sight. But the test had only begun, and the true secret of the curves was still waiting, deeper, darker, and far more dangerous than any alien could imagine. And so, the galaxy held its breath, as the first test between humanity and the Empire began, not with words of peace, not with cries of war, but with silence, with movement, with curves that no alien mind could understand, and with humans who stood unbroken, unafraid, and ready to prove themselves against the universe. The alien fleet spread across the darkness like a storm, their ships heavy with weapons, their pride sharper than their blades, and in the center the human station floated silent, its curved ships waiting like shadows, calm but unshaken. The alien commander raised his hand again, his scaled face glowing under the lights of his ship, and his voice thundered, "Aim again, destroy them. Show these humans what true power means." His crew obeyed, their claws rushing over controls, their targeting systems locking onto the strange human vessels, yet in their hearts, the seed of doubt from the first miss still burned. The second volley screamed across space, bright fire cutting the void, but once again, the human ships moved with curves that no alien mind could follow, slipping sideways, bending angles, twisting light in patterns that seemed unnatural. And again the alien blasts met only the emptiness of black sky. Frustration spread among the alien soldiers, voices rising in anger. Impossible. They cannot move like this. Their ships are primitive. How do they break our aim? The commander slammed his claw on the table, his pride burning. Do not question fire again and again, until they are dust. But dust never came. Each strike was swallowed by the dark. Each blast curved away as if space itself bent around the human vessels, and the aliens watched in disbelief. Their technology, built over thousands of years, mocked by the shapes they had called ugly. On the human side, the station remained steady, its commander sitting with calm eyes, his crew watching the enemy grow restless, and still no order to fire came, only silence, only patience. The young officers whispered among themselves, "How long must we wait? They keep attacking." But the old commander shook his head. "They will test us until they break themselves. And only then will they understand." The aliens grew louder, their ships circling closer, their pride twisting into rage. And still the humans did not strike back, their ships only moving, flowing through the storm like rivers around rocks, their curves turning chaos into dance, their stillness into strength. Then came the turning point. The alien commander ordered a direct charge, one of their smaller warships breaking formation, racing toward the humans with engines screaming, weapons glowing, its crew certain they would ram through the fragile human vessel ahead. The galaxy seemed to pause as the two ships rushed toward each other, predator against prey, pride against silence. But at the last moment, the human ship curved, not away but through, sliding across an impossible angle, brushing past the alien vessel without a single shot fired. And in that moment, every alien system went dark. Their targeting died, their shields flickered, their engines screamed and failed, and the warship spun helpless in space, broken not by fire, but by the very curve of the human design. Gasps filled the alien flagship. Voices of panic rose. They did not touch us. They did not fire, yet we are broken. What are these humans? And the commander's eyes widened, for he realized the truth was worse than defeat. It was humiliation. It was fear, the kind his empire had not felt in centuries. Still, he shouted for more. "Send 3 ships. Surround them, crush them. I do not care what trick they use. Overwhelm them with numbers." And 3 ships obeyed, circling the lone human vessel, firing in all directions, their pride desperate to reclaim honor. But the humans curved again, weaving between the blasts, sliding where no map allowed, turning chaos into order, until the 3 alien warships fired upon each other, their own beams colliding, their own shields collapsing, and in the silence that followed, 3 mighty warships floated crippled, defeated not by human guns, but by their own pride. The alien commander's claws trembled, his voice heavy with something he refused to name, fear. His officers looked at him, their eyes asking questions they dared not speak, and deep inside the whisper returned once more, "Do not test them." On the human station, the commander finally rose, his scar catching the faint light, and he spoke with quiet strength. "They will not understand until their pride shatters, and when it does, the galaxy will learn the truth of humanity." And so the test continued, each moment heavier than the last, each curve a question, each silence a warning, and every alien heart began to understand. These humans were not prey, they were hunters, and the universe had just seen the first sign of their power. But the true secret of the curves was still hidden, waiting deeper in the shadows, waiting for the moment when humanity would no longer stand silent, but strike with the force of legend. The alien fleet trembled with anger, their mighty weapons useless, their proud warships humiliated by strange human curves. But behind the silence of the human station, there was no chaos, no panic, only calm voices, only steady eyes, because the humans knew something the aliens did not. Long before this night, long before the first shot was fired, human engineers had studied the universe with patience. They were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most advanced, but they were different. They had lived on a world full of predators, storms and disasters, and from every trial, they had learned one truth. Survival belonged to the clever, not to the proud. So when humans built their ships, they built them with strange arcs and hidden bends, designs that no alien empire would ever copy. To outsiders, the ships looked wrong, ugly even, as if human builders had made mistakes, but each curve carried meaning. Each angle carried a secret. The curves bent light in small ways, enough to confuse scanners. The arcs twisted the pull of gravity just enough to fool targeting systems. The hulls were shaped not for beauty but for survival. And to the aliens who laughed at them, these curves were only flaws. But to the humans, they were weapons sharper than any blade. Now, as the alien warships fired again and again, their beams missing, their systems breaking, the truth of those curves began to show. One alien officer whispered, "It is like the humans move where we cannot see, like they live between the angles of space." But his commander silenced him with a growl, pride still blinding his eyes. On the human side, the station commander stood over the maps, his scar catching the light, his hand pointing to the enemy ships. "They do not understand yet," he said softly, "but they will. Every blast they fire teaches them the same lesson. Our curves are not mistakes, they are the future." Young cadets stared at him with wide eyes, for even they did not know the full secret. They only knew that the curves worked, that the aliens missed again and again, but how far could these designs go? What else were the humans hiding? Back on the alien flagship, confusion turned into quiet fear. Weapons failed. Shields cracked. Even their proud computers screamed errors. The crew looked at each other, whispers spreading like smoke. What if these humans are not weak? What if they are testing us? The commander slammed his fist and shouted, "They are nothing! They hide behind tricks!" But his voice no longer carried the weight it once did. And then it happened again. Another alien warship charged, its captain desperate to restore honor, and the humans curved once more, their ship sliding into impossible angles. The alien ship lost control, its own systems blinded by the bend of light, its weapons useless, its shields collapsing. The crew screamed as the ship fell silent, another victim of human design. The galaxy had seen countless battles, countless empires rising and falling, but never had a species turned survival into an art. Never had a people turned flaws into weapons. The humans had done it, not by copying others, but by carving their own path, a path of curves. The alien commander sat frozen, his claws shaking, his pride bleeding into silence. He remembered again the old whisper, the warning he had once ignored. Do not test them. The humans are different. Now he understood, but too late, for the test had already begun, and every moment only revealed more of humanity's hidden strength. On the human station, the commander finally allowed himself a thin smile. "They still think this is all we have," he said quietly, "but they do not see the deeper layers. These curves are only the first door. Behind them lies something greater, something that will change the galaxy forever." His officers looked at him, unsure whether to feel fear or pride. But one thing was clear: the humans had never been prey, never been weak, and now the universe itself was about to learn the truth. And so the test went on, with silence, with patience, with hidden strategy, while the aliens fought against shadows they could not touch, against curves they could not understand, and against humans who were only just beginning to show what they truly were. The alien commander stared into the black void, his claws pressing deep into the metal of his chair, his pride burning hotter than the fire in his engines. Around him, the wrecks of 3 crippled warships floated, their lights dim, their crews silent, all destroyed not by human fire but by human curves. And that truth tore at his pride like a blade. He would not allow it. "Power up the flagship," he roared, his voice shaking the chamber. "Show them what true strength looks like. Crush these humans once and for all." His officers hesitated, their eyes flickering with fear, but none dared to defy him. Pride was their empire's lifeblood, and pride demanded victory. The flagship, a monster of steel and plasma, shifted into place. It was the largest ship the aliens had ever built, a beast that had burned whole planets to ash, a ship that no enemy had ever survived. Its weapons glowed with suns trapped in cages, its shields layered with endless power, and the aliens believed that once this beast moved, nothing could stand before it. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath. On the human side, the curved ships waited, silent as shadows. They did not rush, did not panic, did not break. Their commander stood calm, his scar catching the light once more, and he whispered to his crew, "This is the moment. Pride will lead them to their own fall. Watch." The alien flagship opened fire, a storm of energy so bright it turned the darkness into blinding light. The beams roared forward, cutting across the void, a fury strong enough to destroy moons. But when the light faded, the humans were not broken, not destroyed, not even scratched. The curved ships had moved again, sliding into arcs so smooth, so strange, that the beams bent away, missing targets as if guided by invisible hands. The alien flagship had unleashed its might, and still, the humans danced. Shock spread across the alien crew. Impossible! No ship can dodge this much fire. No machine can outmaneuver a flagship. Yet the humans did, calmly, gracefully, as if mocking the pride of their enemies. The alien commander's rage grew hotter. Bring us closer! If they run from our fire, we will crush them at close range. The flagship surged forward, engines roaring, weapons burning, determination hardening into desperation. But as the beast drew closer, the human curves revealed their second secret. The closer the flagship came, the more confused its systems became. Its scanners bent, its navigation twisted, its weapons fired wide. The very air of space around the humans bent like a storm around cliffs, breaking everything the flagship tried to do. The alien crew panicked, alarms screaming, systems failing. One officer turned to his commander, his voice shaking. We cannot lock on them. Every shot bends. Every move fails. Commander! Maybe the whispers were true. Maybe these humans— Silence! The commander bellowed, his pride stronger than reason. We are the Empire. We do not bow to tricks. Yet his eyes betrayed him, for in their cold reflection fear had begun to grow. On the human bridge, the old commander gave his first true order of attack. His voice was calm, almost soft, but every crew member heard the iron beneath it. Do not destroy them. Break their pride. The human ships moved as one, sliding into impossible arcs, their engines flaring, their curves bending light and shadow. They did not fire to kill, not yet. Instead, they struck at weak points, cutting power lines, disabling weapons, shattering shields. Piece by piece, the great flagship, the pride of an empire, was broken, not destroyed but humiliated. Alarms wailed across the alien beast. Lights flickered, weapons died, shields collapsed. The crew shouted, running to save systems that would not answer. Their pride, their faith in their great ship, crumbled like glass. The commander stared at his failing vessel, his claws shaking. He remembered again the old whisper, the warning carried across generations. Do not test them. The humans are different. Now the truth was before him, undeniable, unshakable. Yet still he could not speak the words of surrender. The human commander's voice echoed across the void, calm but sharp as steel. You came to test us. You mocked our ships. You laughed at our curves. Now you see the truth. We do not need to destroy you. We only need to show you what your pride cannot accept. Silence filled the alien bridge. Pride had brought them here. Pride had fueled their attacks. And pride had broken them. For the first time in centuries, the Empire's greatest flagship drifted powerless, defeated not by fire, but by the patience and design of a species they had called weak. And across the galaxy, whispers began to spread. Whispers of humans. Whispers of curves. Whispers of a test that the proud had failed. The battlefield had grown silent. The alien flagship, once the pride of an empire, now drifted powerless, its weapons dark, its shields gone, its crew whispering in fear. Around it, smaller alien vessels held their distance, afraid to charge, afraid to fire, afraid to face the strange curves of the human ships. The humans did not press their advantage. They did not destroy the crippled flagship. They did not hunt the weaker ships. They did not rush to claim victory. Instead, they waited in silence, their curved vessels gliding in calm arcs like predators circling but never striking. On the human station, the old commander stood tall. His scarred face glowed faint under the red star, his voice steady and cold. They have seen enough, he said to his officers. Now they must hear us. A young officer, his hands shaking, leaned forward. Sir, shall we demand their surrender? The commander shook his head. No, we will demand nothing. We will show them who we are. Moments later, a transmission crossed the void, carrying human voices into the heart of the alien fleet. It was not the voice of anger, not the roar of victory, but a calm and measured sound, words that would echo across the galaxy. This is humanity, the message began. We do not seek war. We do not conquer. We do not kneel. You came to test us and we endured. You came to mock us and we endured. You came to break us and we endured. If you think we are weak, strike again and learn the cost. If you think we are prey, hunt us and see who becomes the hunter. The words carried like fire. On alien bridges, soldiers listened, their pride shaking, their faith broken. Some whispered, they speak without fear. Others whispered, They speak like rulers, not prey. And one, silent in the shadows, whispered the forbidden truth. They are not weak. They are human. The alien commander, his claws trembling, heard every word. He tried to shout. He tried to command his officers to fire, but the words caught in his throat. His flagship lay broken, his empire's pride shattered, and no order could hide that truth. The humans did not stop. The message continued strong, unwavering. We are not the strongest. We are not the oldest. We are not the brightest stars in the sky. But we are human. We learn, we endure, we fight when we must, and we rise when we fall. That is our strength. That is why we live when others fade. The galaxy listened. Across the stars, other species tuned in. Traders, scavengers, wanderers, and hidden watchers. All heard the human voice, and all felt something new in their hearts. Not fear alone, not anger, but respect. On the human bridge, silence followed the broadcast. Young officers looked at each other, their eyes wide, their hearts racing. They had spoken their truth to the galaxy, not with weapons, not with threats, but with resolve. Will they retreat now? One cadet whispered. The old commander's lips curved into the smallest of smiles. They will not retreat, he said. Pride will not allow it. But now they understand. Every attack from here is not a test of us, it is a test of themselves. He was right. On the alien flagship, silence grew heavy. The commander stared at his broken systems, his frightened crew, his pride in ruins. His officers looked at him with hollow eyes. For the first time, he felt the weight of something he had never known. Doubt. Commander, one officer whispered. Perhaps we should withdraw. Perhaps the whispers were true. His claws shook. His pride screamed against the thought. His empire demanded strength, demanded defiance. And yet his voice cracked as he spoke. If we retreat, we are broken. If we fight, we fall. Either way, the humans have won. The words tasted like poison, but they were truth. Back on the human station, the commander turned to his crew. They will come again, he said. Not because they are strong, but because they cannot accept their weakness. And when they do, we will be ready. For every attack, every insult, every challenge, we will answer with the same resolve. Humanity does not kneel. And in the silence that followed, his crew rose from their seats, their voices one, not in shouts, but in steady whispers. We do not kneel. Across the stars, the galaxy listened. The message of resolve had begun its journey, carried in whispers, carried in fear, carried in respect, and the aliens who had once mocked the human curves now feared them, for they understood that the curves were not just shapes of ships. They were the shape of human spirit. The test was no longer about ships or weapons. It was about resolve. And in that test, humanity had already won. The alien empire had never tasted humiliation before. For centuries, their fleets had burned worlds, crushed rebellions, and silenced every voice that dared to rise against them. But now their proud flagship drifted powerless, its crew broken by the quiet strength of human curves. Across the galaxy, whispers of fear spread faster than light. The Empire could not allow it. In hidden bases far away, a final order was given. From the black heart of their arsenals, they released their greatest monster. A warship so large it was called a moving continent. The Oblivion, a ship older than many stars, carried the firepower to burn a system in hours. It was their ultimate weapon, a ship that had never been challenged, never been defeated, and never been doubted. The alien commander on the broken flagship heard the transmission, and his claws tightened. Reinforcements were coming, not just ships, but the Oblivion. Pride returned to his eyes. Now the humans will learn. No curves can bend around a storm like this. The humans watched quietly as the monster entered the field. Its shadow swallowed stars. Its weapons pulsed like chained suns. Its engines roared like thunder across the void. Even the younger human officers felt their throats dry, their hearts heavy. "How can we face that?" one whispered. The old commander did not flinch. He looked at the monster calmly, his scar catching the faint red light of the dying star. "Every predator believes itself eternal," he said softly. "But even giants fall when they cannot see the ground beneath them." The Oblivion fired. Its first strike was not a weapon but a wave of pressure, bending space itself, crushing nearby asteroids into dust, shaking the human ships like leaves in a storm. Then came the beams. Rivers of burning plasma so wide they looked like oceans pouring through the black. No fleet in history had survived such power. But the humans curved. Their ships bent light, sliding into impossible arcs. weaving between the rivers of fire. The monster's weapons raged, yet every strike fell wide. Every ocean of plasma poured into emptiness. The galaxy watched as fragile human vessels danced around a warship that could destroy worlds. The alien crews shouted in disbelief. It is not possible. No fleet escapes the oblivion. No prey survives. Yet the humans did, calm as shadows, patient as hunters. Then came the shift. For the first time, the humans did not only evade, they struck. Their curved ships vanished into angles unseen, bending around the monster's blind spots. Beams of light cut through weak joints, missiles slid into gaps hidden between shields. The Oblivion, built to fight armies, had never faced an enemy it could not predict. But the curves made prediction impossible. Its shields cracked. Its weapons faltered. Its great engines, older than empires, screamed as human fire found their heart. On the alien flagship, silence ruled. Officers stared with hollow eyes as their great monster staggered, not from brute force, but from the quiet, patient design of humans. Pride crumbled into horror. The human commander spoke at last. His voice carried across the battlefield, soft but sharp. You call this your ultimate weapon. You believe power alone rules the stars. But power without wisdom is nothing. You built a giant. We built a future. His crew moved as one, guiding their curved ships into a final strike. They did not aim to destroy, not yet. Instead, they bent light across the monster's own weapons, turning its fire inward. The Oblivion screamed as its energy devoured itself. Shields shattering, armor burning, its great body collapsing under its own pride. In the end, the monster did not fall to enemy guns. It fell to its own strength, reflected and broken by human curves. The galaxy shook with silence. For the first time in memory, the Empire's greatest weapon had been defeated. And not by another empire, not by a rival power, but by the young species they had mocked as weak. On the human station, the commander stood still, his eyes hard but his voice calm. This is the great shift, he said to his officers. The day the galaxy learns that survival does not belong to the proud but to the patient. The day the hunters become the hunted, and across the stars whispers turned into waves. Traitors, rebels, and hidden watchers spoke the same words again and again. The humans, the curves, the fall of the Oblivion. The Empire had unleashed its greatest monster and humanity had broken it. The test was over. The lesson had just begun. The monster was gone. The Oblivion, pride of an empire, the ship that had silenced countless worlds, now floated in ruins, its great body cracked, its weapons silent, its engines cold. Around it, smaller alien vessels stayed frozen in fear, unwilling to move, unwilling to fire, unwilling even to breathe. The humans did not finish them. Their curved ships drifted like shadows, calm and silent, their weapons quiet, their engines low. Victory was theirs, yet they did not celebrate. The battlefield was not a place for joy. It was a place for memory. On the human station, the old commander stood with his crew. His scar caught the dim red light of the dying star. His voice was steady, calm, unshaken. The test is over, he said. And now the galaxy will remember. He ordered no pursuit, no slaughter. Instead, a single message was sent, carried on open channels, heard not only by the broken alien fleet but by every ear that listened across the stars. We are humanity. We did not come to conquer. We did not come to kneel. You came to test us, and now you know the truth. We are not prey. We are not weak. We are the curve that breaks the straight line. We are the shadow that bends the light. We are human, and we endure. The words spread like fire. On the alien flagship, silence ruled. Soldiers lowered their claws. Officers closed their eyes. Pride had been their armor, but now it was shattered. One young officer whispered what none dared to say aloud. The whispers were true. They warned us, do not test them. And still we tested. Now we are broken. The commander of that ship, once loud with arrogance, now sat slumped in his chair. His claws trembled, his eyes hollow. At last, in a voice that carried not pride but defeat, he whispered, They warned us, and we did not listen. The words became the first ripple of legend. Across the galaxy, traders carried the story to every station. Smugglers spread it in the shadows. Farmers whispered it to their children under foreign suns. The curves that broke the empire, they said. The humans who turned weakness into strength. The prey who made hunters afraid. Even in the empire's own courts, whispers could not be silenced. Senators, generals, and nobles heard the tale. They laughed at first, as they always had, but deep inside fear gnawed at them. If the oblivion could fall, if their fleets could be bent and broken, then perhaps their rule was not eternal. Perhaps their empire had finally met a force it could not control. Meanwhile, humans did not boast. They did not march across conquered worlds. They returned to their silence, their patience, their quiet resolve. The old commander told his crew, "Do not believe we are invincible. Believe only this: we will never kneel." But others believed more. Rebels on hidden planets painted human curves on their ships. Small colonies whispered of alliance. And in dark corners of space, new fleets began to form, fleets not of empire but of freedom. Humanity had become a symbol, not because of firepower, not because of numbers, but because of resolve. One alien survivor, drifting among the ruins of the battle, recorded a final message. His voice was soft, broken, but heavy with truth. "We thought them weak. We thought them prey. We thought their ships ugly, their designs foolish. But the curves broke us. They turned our power into nothing. They turned our pride into dust. If you meet them, do not test them. Do not mock them. Do not underestimate them, for we did, and we lost." That message, carried on hidden channels, reached ears it was never meant to reach. It became the seed of a legend, and so the phrase began to echo. Go ahead, test them. The curves that broke every alien. Children across distant worlds whispered it in games. Soldiers muttered it before battles. Captains painted it on their ships. The galaxy, vast and cruel, had found a new warning, one born not from power but from endurance. Back on the human station, the commander stood alone, staring at the endless dark. He knew the Empire would not stop. They would return again and again, driven by pride, by anger, by fear. But he also knew humanity would be ready. They had survived predators before. They would survive again, for in the end, the curves were not just steel and design. They were humanity itself, unpredictable, unbreakable, bending but never broken. And in the silence of the stars, the legend lived on.